We're going to be talking about a very important topic today, and I'm glad that we are here to listen to this webinar. So I welcome you all from around the world. We have had a lot of people register from all over the world. So it's good that we are interested in this topic. And the webinar is brought to us by Estuk Academy for research and development. So we'll go straight to the point. Top tips on scholarship applications. It's a well-known fact that many people are interested to apply for scholarships. They have tried in one way or the other. Some may have applied for the first time, and some may have not applied. But planning to attend the university, be it undergraduate or postgraduate, or even postdoctoral, you find out that most people will gladly want to use the scholarship approach or model to gather their experience. So that's why it's important that you pay close attention. So the first thing we need to know is to start from the end to the beginning. At the end, what everybody wants to know or wants to hear is congratulations, you just won a scholarship. It's a very important thing to hear, and people are glad to hear it. I remember when I got my own and how I felt. I was so excited because it was heartwarming. After having invested a lot of effort, having applied, having written a lot of essays, and finally, one could get this kind of message. It's so heartwarming, and it's what everybody desires to have. Let me simply read what is here. I have much pleasure in informing you that you've been awarded a Commonwealth Scholarship under the Commonwealth Scholarship and Fellowship Plan, tenable in the United Kingdom at the institution named and on the terms described in the accompanying letter from the Executive Secretary. So this is an award letter to one of our clients, and it's what everybody will want to have at each point in time. And that could be you. This person could be you. So as we go through the webinar and through the slides, you'll be picking out the points. If you haven't applied for scholarship before, this will be an opportunity to get everything right. So, but if you have applied for scholarship and in one way or the other you couldn't get it, this is another opportunity for you to try. I will encourage you not to get discouraged, so that in your next applications, you'll find out that it will be a whole lot easier for you. Having said this, we would like to know why candidates get rejected. Because if we find out why people do not get the scholarship, it will be easier for us to find solutions to how students can go about, or candidates can go about to apply. We conducted a survey recently, and the survey told us that greater than 50% of the survey participants reported poor essay writing skills and lack of mentorship as the major causes of application rejection. So it's noted from this survey that why many people do not get the scholarship is because they do not know how to write their essays or have not been taught how to write their essays. And also, people do not go into applying scholarship with mentors who can guide them. At the end, they just enter into the scholarship and found out that they couldn't survive it, they couldn't make it, because they did not have any direction or any strong mentor who guided them appropriately. There are other reasons like reference associated difficulties, unable to meet up deadlines and all that. But what stood highest in this survey are poor essay technique writing and lack of mentoring. Before this webinar, we had to ask people what will be their expectation at the end of this webinar. These are some of the things our survey participants represented that they will want to know tips on how to write essays that will win the scholarship, information to guide applications for scholarship, and a whole lot of all this. So we are going to be going through them. While we may not zero down on any particular one at the moment, in our subsequent webinars, we're going to take all of them one after the other so that we'll be able to dissect them. Each of these reasons why people would get their scholarship are separate topics on themselves. So we'll try to give a general overview, then you could ask your questions. In our subsequent meetings, we'll take them one after the other. I hope you'll be able to join us in our subsequent webinars. Where does it all begin? It is important to realize that preparing for scholarship is a serious business, mark the word serious business, and should not be left out to chance. It's not something you pull out of the pocket at any time you want and think that by so doing, you will get it. Remember, if you are going to be applying for a scholarship in one of the top universities in the world, a lot of people are also interested in that scholarship you want to apply. How would you prepare if you know that another 2,000 candidates are going to prepare with you or going to face the same kind of scholarship screening with you? So just imagine that it's a very serious business and shouldn't be taken for granted. I love this particular quote that says the best time to plant a tree was 25 years ago, and the next best time is today. Before they call for applications, you would need to prepare for your applications way ahead of time. We can imagine this young man who is trying to climb up this uphill task. It's a very difficult thing that will require a lot of energy. So as an aspirant, if you're interested in postgraduate scholarships, you should start preparing from your undergraduate days. Why is it important to prepare from your undergraduate days? You will realize that when you prepare from there, you will try to work on your grades, your GP, to make sure that it's high, because scholarships are very, very competitive. And most times you find the donors or the funders stating in their eligibility criteria that the least you can have is second class upper, but if you have a first class, it's a desirable thing. It's more preferable. So it's very important that you start, if you are still an undergraduate, you start at this point to prepare so that you have a clean result. So that when you are applying, remember you are applying across the world. People everywhere in the world will be applying. So you find out that in your application, you would need to be top-notch in your grades. However, if your grade is not first class or second class upper, it doesn't completely rule you out from applying for scholarships. In some situations, you find out that when you apply for a scholarship and you have strong professional experience, you can also be considered. More so for those whose background is in medicine and surgery, you find out that their own classification is not graded as first class or second class, upper, and all that. You will find out that it's still possible to apply, even as a doctor or as a lawyer. So, but it's very important to have a top-notch certificate and grade. If it's excellent, it will be easier for you to scale through. Most times people do not get the scholarship because a lot of first class would have been selected. But like I said, you don't have to worry. You can build your professional experience that's done for you, because all those things are part of their criteria for selection. So before any scholarship is announced, you should be able to get your documents ready ahead of time. Sometimes you find out why most of us do not beat the deadline that we started preparing when the call for scholarship has started. It's very important to start before it starts. Most times you find out that for most scholarships in the UK, Commonwealth, Chevening, and all that, they usually announce their call around August and beyond, August, September, October, November, December. At that point in time, you will realize that trying to put your documents ready will not be feasible, because most times the call will be for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. You can imagine trying to arrange your transcript and degree certificates. It might be very tough for some schools. You have to pass through rigorous processes and difficult protocols to get your certificates. Also, you would need to get your international passport. It's your means of identification. You can't even apply for scholarships if you don't have international passport. It also takes its own time. So you will need to factor all these things ahead of time. You will need other credentials like preparing for your English test. For those countries, those who are coming from countries that will require them to write English test. For instance, if you're a Nigerian and you want to study in reputable institutions in the United Kingdom, or you want to go to the US to study, they will require that you get your English test ready. So you will need to write your IELTS for those who are interested to study in the UK university. If you are going to study in the United States of America or in Canada and those in North America, you find out that they will require TOEFL. So you need to discover the English test that will be necessary for your preparation. You need to get all these documents ready before your funders open up their website to tell you to apply. If you don't do this, you will run the risk of not meeting up with the deadline. And studies have shown that these are the reasons why people don't get to submit the application before the deadline. The next thing you need to do before there is a call for an application for scholarship is to actively look for mentors. Recall the survey I showed us earlier that greater than 50% of the applicants reported that lack of mentoring, lack of good mentorship, it's one of the reasons why they couldn't get the scholarship. In this case, a mentor can be someone who had gone ahead of you in the application, a scholar in that particular scholarship you are interested in. For instance, if you're interested in Commonwealth scholarship, you would need to have a mentor who has been awarded scholarship under Commonwealth or Chevening or Wellcome Trust or anyone at all you are interested in. You can do your search. If you do your diligent search, you find out you can get one, and getting one who will be willing to take you through, who will be willing to help, support, advise, and guide you through the processes. Those things are very important. When I wrote in my previous application before I got my scholarship, the first 4 applications I did to 4 universities in the UK, I did not have any mentor. I just was feeling very good. After all, I'm a doctor, and it's a good qualification, it's a good profession. It can give me all I need. But at the end of the day, I found out that I couldn't get any of those 4. Thereafter, I had to actively look for a mentor who was able to guide me all through the path. So in my subsequent applications, even though after the first application I did, I applied to 4 schools. In the subsequent one, I applied to 11 schools. I'm going to come to that when it is time to really tell you why you need to expand your tentacles to apply to many schools. So applying for 11 schools in 2017. And at the end of the day, one of the schools, University of Liverpool, was able to select me. And you could imagine the selection process was so rigorous. They needed only 3 candidates, but we were over 400 that applied for that particular school. So you can imagine what it would have taken them to select only 3 best qualified candidates. So you need a mentor. Very important. I can't emphasize the need for mentors. And that is why we are here, really, because we want to help out, because we want to give you the support and the guidance you need. So if you are interested in any of those applications, you've gotten a mentor or you've gotten mentors, our team will be able to help out. Something else that you also need before the course starts is to engage in community services and volunteering. Most of the scholarships that we have are development oriented. The funders will want to know how you have been able to affect your society, your community, your little space positively. What have you been doing to make sure that your environment is moving on well? So it's very important to engage in community services. And in community services, you should know that if you engage in community services, it should be in line with what your application is. For instance, if you are going to apply under the health sector, there's no point volunteering in maybe the legal sector. So it's very important that your volunteering is in line with your application. So it is strategic volunteering. Volunteers are a gift to the community. The next thing you also need to prepare beforehand is to have timely and quality referees. So your referees are very important in your applications. If you don't have referees, I'm afraid you won't be able to get the scholarship because the funders are very particular and specific about your referees. So what do? We need timely and quality recommendation. Who can be your referee? Your academic supervisor can be your referee. Your supervisor at work, if you are currently working, your supervisor at work can also serve as your referee. So you would need a referee beforehand, and most times you are advised to contact your referee ahead of time because your referees can be very busy, and if you don't inform them on time, prepare their minds, they may not put in their references for you on time. And if your references are not put in on time, it may affect the consideration for you. So if you look at the slide, you see it's timely and quality recommendation. So it is not just timely, it has to be quality. Most of our referees may not have known the best way to write for you. So it's important that you also look out for referees that have the relevant skills to write. Consider that they are going to be referees for other people, and some of them may write quality recommendations for them. So if your referee writes a vague recommendation for you, that's how the funders will translate it, that you are not ready for the job, and therefore we will not give you the funding. Remember that some of the fundings can run in the tune of 15 million naira. If you're a Nigerian, 15 million naira. So you should be considering, why should someone give you up to 15 million naira to go and study abroad? Okay, now that we have dealt with the various things that are necessary for us to prepare before the call, what are we supposed to do during the call? I've listed a lot of things that we should put in place before there is even a call. What are the things that we'll do when we have been told that the scholarship is now available? First of all, before you apply for any scholarship, you should ask yourself whether you are eligible. Every scholarship will detail in the scholarship abstract telling you that this is the eligibility criteria. Then you need to find out, am I eligible for this scholarship? So some of the eligibility may be if you are from the country. Some scholarships are for people from low and middle income countries. So if you're not from that country, there's no need applying. Some scholarships may be specific for women. If you are not in that category, you don't need to apply. So you need to check the eligibility criteria. before you apply. Because if you don't, you find out that your application will be a waste of time because nobody will look at it. After you've done that, you also need to research about the schools you want to apply. In some scholarships, you need to apply to the funder and also apply to the university you are interested in. So you need to do a research. It's hard work, but it's worth it at the end of the day. When you begin to look at the various universities, you look at the various courses, and be sure that the funders are really funding the course you are interested to apply in that university. Sometimes people just go ahead and apply to a particular course in the university that won't attract any scholarship. It won't do you any good. So you need to also find out whether you meet up with the requirements for the university you are interested to apply. So read their guidelines and requirements, their eligibility for even applying for that course. The truth is that you need to be awarded a postgraduate training or an undergraduate training in that university before the funders or the scholarship will give you the scholarship awarding board will give you the necessary funding that you need. So if you have not met up with the criteria for the university, you'll find out that the scholarship will not also be given to you. So you need to take care of all those things. During the scholarship, we need to follow guidelines. Some of these funders are also very generous enough. They will give us the guidelines. This is how to write your essays. This is how to write your statement of purpose. This is how to prepare your CV. They will table all those things for you so that you can go through them and learn exactly what to do. They will table who, what, where, when, why, and how questions for you. But most times you find out that candidates veer off to write what they feel that will be suitable for them. In fact, it's very important to write compelling essays. Your essays and your CVs must be top notch. In my social media posts, I've posted 2 essays before now. Essay 1 for candidate 1 and essay 2 for candidate 2. And this has generated a lot of talk, a lot of discussion, who should be awarded the scholarship and all that, and the reasons behind it. Essay writing is a skill, and it doesn't come as a gift. People learn it. So you need to develop it. If your essay is not compelling, if your essay is not impressive, nobody will want to consider you. If a marker or one of the persons who will select tries to read all through 10,000 essays, will your essay come up on board? If it doesn't make a difference, then you need to upgrade on your essays. Also, people don't know the best skills to apply when they want to prepare their CVs. You can find some CVs that are very repulsive, and those are the CVs that some people turn in to submit as part of their application for a prestigious scholarship. It won't fly. I'm really serious, it won't fly. So you need to prepare your CVs, prepare your essays very well. And you have to review your essays as many times as possible. Some people just write once and they submit their essays. No, you have to review it, write it, send it to a reviewer, send it to your mentor to read, send it to your friend to read, because you need a second eye, you need a third eye, even the fourth eye to look at your essays. There are some things you may have not considered while writing that an expert reviewer will point out for you. There are specific words, there are specific ways you can present your essay that you wouldn't have considered, but an expert can bring that forward to you. So in Estuk Academy, we support candidates to develop and review their essays and CVs. So if you have challenges with writing essays, recall in our survey, more than 50% of the reasons for rejection was attributed to essay writing. So you can contact us through our email, through our website, and other means, through our social media means like Facebook and all that. You can contact us and we'll be able to guide you to write your essays and your CVs in a pattern that will be able to position you in an advantage to securing your scholarship. Please, it's very important that you submit your application before the deadline. If you have finished writing your essays, you finish preparing your international passport, your IELTS, you pass them, your English test and all that, but you did not submit your application before deadline, you wouldn't get the scholarship. That is very important for you to know. So funders are very particular about deadlines. They will even tell you the deadline to the point of minutes. They will tell you maybe so time, 11:59 p.m. of a certain day. That's the deadline. So you should work so hard to be able to go through all the necessary processes and still submit before deadline. And how can this be possible? It can only be possible if you are able to go through your document, prepare them, do sound check, everything before they call. So after submission of your application, what are the things that you'll be required to do? There's usually an intervening period before a decision is made in your scholarship applications. Sometimes it might be up to 2 months, 3 months, or less. So, but you need to know that within that time, there are things that may happen. In the event that you're selected for a scholarship, you'll be needed to submit other documents. Maybe you might now be needed to do some capture, go for visa application and stuff like that. So you don't need to stay away from your emails. Some people don't maintain their email. The time they check their email maybe once in a week, once in 2 weeks or so. But it's very important that you monitor your email on daily basis. You monitor your email to be sure there is any update. If there is any update, quickly just attend to what is expected of you to do. Then we pray and hope that your effort pays off. It can be filled with anxiety. Some people will be so anxious, so worried. These applications I have made, will I be able to get it? They are worried, they can't concentrate. But the truth is that if you have done your due diligence, you should be able to wait and hope that your efforts will pay off. It's very important. There are so many scholarships available, and you can take advantage of all those available. If you always go to their website, you can also check on our website and follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. You'll be receiving updates on available funding opportunities. And when you get that, you follow through all the things we've talked about. Like I said before we started, we are going to, in our next webinar, we are going to be talking about specific scholarships and specific things you need to do. But you need to have this holistic idea of what it takes to apply in all scholarships. So if you prepare yourself, you follow the scholarships that you are going to be applying, you follow the same method. Even though there may be some nuances, there may be some peculiarities for specific scholarships. But in general, these are the things you need to do. Can I really win a prestigious scholarship? The answer is yes. You can win a prestigious scholarship and you can do it. Always have a positive and a possibility mentality. The truth is that when you get funded, it cancels all those nay and no that you've received, those rejections, it will cancel them. The kind of exposure you will get, the kind of people you will meet, your learning environment and all those things will cancel the no's that you received. So always have the mentality that you can do it. If it didn't work out in one application, in the next application, try to apply. Give it a try. Thank you for listening.